Dear all, today I'm going to reiterate again with regard to the ERMS project. All of you work in pair and you have to set up a company complete with all the information necessary for a company, define the business nature of that particular company, and then look into the business activity as well as the organizational structure with clearly defined diagram and description. So whenever you set up a company, you have to understand what business you are doing, and in this project you have to understand what business you are doing, and later on all of you will be doing the transaction among each other. And in doing so, you have to look into how electronic record is created using and during the using the software and during the transaction. So when we want to implement, in real sense, when we want to implement electronic records in organization, we have to understand in the first place the nature of the business and the organization itself. This, what I mean is what business direction, what is the mission and objective. By understanding the vision, mission and objective, we will be able to define the kind of structure. And I believe the companies and organizations outside there, they have already this thing, and they develop the organization on the basis of their business nature. And this business structure or organizational structure is very important when we want to implement electronic records, because each and every department or unit or agency within an organization perform different functions. Remember about when I said in the class the definition of organization, which is two or more people working together to achieve common goals. These two or more people are performing their job on the basis of specialization and divided into category. Say for example, in this manner, admin people with the background of administration will do the administrative tasks. Financial people will do the financial tasks. Marketing people will do the marketing tasks. So by understanding this kind of structure, we also can see the relationship between each department, how the administrative department do the transaction with the financial department, what are the things that they do, what are the records that they transacted, exchange for that kind of work. So in doing so, we have to define what is the scope of work of each and every single department. When we are able to define the scope of work, we would be able to understand what process that takes place, what work and procedures that they have to undertake, and finally, based on that, we can define also, and we can also identify what kind of records created when they do the transaction, when they do the process, when they do the completing the procedure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where later on we can list all the potential record creation based on the kind of the transaction that they do. And based on the list of the transaction later on, we would be able to develop the so-called 5-plan structure. This 5-plan structure is developed on the basis of the record created based on transaction that exists in that particular organization. Similarly, what I said just now is something to do with internal transaction. And then if we look into external transaction, which is the kind of relationship between one organization with another organization, one company with another company, what kind of transaction that occur among them. Maybe company A is doing memorandum of understanding with another company. Maybe they are doing a memorandum of agreement, which is two different things. and maybe they do the purchasing, because in business we cannot have everything. A marketing company may have marketing skill, marketing people, may have the resources to do the marketing, but a marketing company may not be able to implement IT system. They need other company outside to install system to perform the marketing activities. This is how things happen outside there. So whenever I ask you to do this kind of project, it is actually to expose you to this kind of thing in a real sense. It is like a simulation. So in this company, you prepare the company profile together with necessary description, organizational structure, develop the departmental scope of work, understand what administrative structure is doing, what is the function of financial department, what is the function of sales and marketing department, for example, human resource department, for example, and so on and so forth. And later on, you identify what transaction occur in admin department, in financial, sales and marketing, human resource, and any other department. You have to remember one thing. Not all company has to be able to, or not every organization necessarily need to develop each of these department. It is not like that. It depends on the nature of their business. Okay, and then by having that kind of thing, we identify the intra-departmental transaction based upon the organizational structure, and we look into what kind of relationship between each and every single department, and based on this internal transaction, and later on we combine with external transaction, we can develop, or maybe later on we can design and establish a workflow process, because from the workflow process we can identify kind of records created in each of the process. This you have to design into a diagram with description for each and every single transaction, completely and comprehensively. The workflow diagram will indicate possible point of record creation. Remember about the principle of respect the sworn. We are talking about who is the creator of that particular record. Later on, we implement the so-called principle of provenance. This creation of record belongs to which department, belong to which position, belong to whom, who is the creator of the record, for example. So this kind of workflow has to be identified early. By doing so, later on, the final output, before we can implement electronic record, is that we are able to design file plan structure completely for an organization. Okay, that is all for today. Thank you very much. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to ask me in the class.